Now, when I say most unique MMO, I know that can be quite subjective with how many are out there on the market. You've got World of Warcraft, Adventure Quest Worlds, RuneScape, Albion, etc. But when I say Rotmeg is unique, I truly mean it. Bullet hell games are somewhat of a rarity. Sure, you've got the classics like Touhou and the roguelikes like Enter the Gungeon, but I have yet to see a game even remotely similar to Rotmeg in my time playing it, other than Darce's Dominion. But unfortunately, we can see how that ended up going. In this video, I'll explain what Realm of the Mad God is, some of its history, and let you form your own opinion on whether or not you should try it. First off, what is it? Realm of the Mad God is a top-down bullet hell roguelike MMO, meaning once a character has been killed, it's gone for good. Any equipment you had on that character is now dust in the aether. But don't worry, you don't lose everything. Anything you store in your vault can be accessed by any of your later characters and will not be lost upon death as long as it stays inside the vault. For some people, the permanent death is what can really dissuade them from continuing. The feeling of losing a character that you put dozens, potentially even hundreds of hours into is easily one of the worst. Trust me, I would know. I've been through it plenty of times. But for others like myself, it helps keep the game fresh. It gives that game that sense of replayability and progress. An important thing to realize early on is that you will die. No way around it. Learn from your mistakes, and you'll get the hang of the game in no time. What are the classes? Currently, there are 18 different classes to choose from, each with their own unique ability that gives each class a different feeling than the last. From the pure damage of the wizard and his spells, the hybrid healing and damage buff the paladin with their seals, to the swift and berserk warrior and his helmet. Each class has something different for everyone and a few playstyles for each class. Want to go pure tank? You can try out the knight. Want to heal other players while staying a fair ways away from the fight? Priest might be more your style. How about the ability to paralyze enemies with your precise aiming? Archer is definitely the right fit. Point being, there's a class for everyone. You may enjoy them all, or might favor just one or two. What about the art style? Well, as previously stated, it's top-down, much like the original Legend of Zelda, or Binding of Isaac. The art style is a more pixelated 8-bit style of art. Every weapon, ability, armor, and accessory in the game fits within an 8x8 pixel tile. Most of the class skins are also 8x8, with just a few exceptions. Some people enjoy this more retro style of art, some people think it can hinder it a tad. I'm personally impressed with just how many different shapes you can make with only 64 usable pixels. Why should you care? The significance of Realm of the Mad God should not be lost. Originally developed for the TIG Source Assembly competition in which it took 3rd place. And funny enough, it's actually the only game of the top 3 to still be around. The developers Rob Schillingsberg and Alex Karabas made the first build in just 2 weeks' time. After seeing the interest in the game, they decided to move forward and continue updating. Almost one new update every week on average for the first year or so. How about the mechanics? One sign of a good game is how well it performs mechanically, while the inverse can also be true. Thankfully, Realm of the Mad God's mechanics are some of the best out there in my opinion. The controls are simple yet effective. Standard WASD controls movement, Q and E can rotate the camera, which is quite helpful when you begin to do harder content, and R is your default Nexus key. Press that at any time to instantly return to the Nexus safe and sound, provided there's no lag. There are a few other keybinds like off-centering the player, which works well in tandem with the camera rotation, as well as resetting your camera angle back to the default, which is either 0 degrees or 45. As previously mentioned, permanent death is one of the game's core mechanics. It's what makes a roguelike. Or in this case, it's more of a roguelite, as there is permanent progression down the line. The other major contender is the Casino on Crack dopamine machine. Give me that sweet, sweet loot. When you get that item that you've been grinding for, or just a brand new rare drop, it's one of the best feelings you can have when gaming. Trust me when I say this. Even though it's only 20 or so pixels, that white bag is genuinely one of the best looking things in any game I've ever played. Getting your first one is truly something special. How about the activity? Let's address the elephant in the room. The activity and the community. It's no fun playing a multiplayer game when the multiplayer has all been removed. The Realm of the Mad God community may be small compared to other MMOs, but it's still fairly active, and welcoming for the most part. Realmi, the go-to website for anything wiki and data related, shows approximately 71,000 players who achieved the first rank during the past 14 days. Assuming approximately 20,000 of those are spam bots, which is probably on the low end to be honest, and another 5,000 are players simply logging their characters, that leaves about 46,000 players who logged in within the last 14 days. Taking a look at the Steam charts, at 2:30 AM Central Time when this screenshot was taken, there were just over 1,300 Steam users in-game. And again, this is just the Steam users. Realm of the Mad God features a standalone client back from when it was still on Adobe Flash and could be played within your browsers. So while Realm of the Mad God isn't as active as other MMOs or has as big of a community, most of the community is still quite welcoming. I've done my best in the past just to hang out in the public Discord, and most people are super chill and willing to help out new players. Of course, you're going to find some of the elitist snobs, but you'll find that in almost any online game, so unfortunately, it really shouldn't come as a surprise. Progression and the issues with it. Currently, at the time of writing this, progression is at a bit of a strange point. Right now, the idea is you enter the realm, level up to level 20 using your current quest as a guide for the difficulty of content you can handle at that moment. Once you reach level 20, you can teleport to the middle of the map where all the players are and start killing the gods in hopes you get stat potions to increase your stats. At this point, you can also start doing the dungeons that drop from those gods. Rinse and repeat until approximately 6 out of your 8 stats are maxed, and then you can do some of the event dungeons like Ocean Trench to max your mana and the Tomb of the Ancients to max your life. Granted, these aren't the only dungeons that max those respective stats, but they are the easiest ones. Once you're around a few stats max, you can also start doing raids. I say raids with air quotes because they aren't like your traditional raids from other MMOs. It's mainly sitting in a Discord waiting for a random player you'll never actually talk to tell you what server to join, when to join it, and where to go in whichever dungeon you decide to run. Some Discords specialize in dungeons like Lost Halls, Shatters, Oryx 3, and others just do whatever and whenever. One thing remains consistent across most Discords, however. You're deafened simply listening to a random player tell you what to do. It's efficient, but god is it boring. Is the game pay to win? One of the biggest concerns of any online game is whether or not it's pay to win. Realm of the Mad God is honestly somewhere in that middle ground. Currently in the game, there are 4 equipment slots: weapon, ability, armor, and accessory, as stated previously. Weapons can go up to tier 14, abilities to 7, armors to 15, and accessories to 6. There are also untiered versions of every piece of equipment, but those can only be obtained by actually doing the dungeons, or by the forge in your vault, which still requires other untiered pieces of equipment. Currently, you can purchase in-game items with the premium currency, up to tier 12 for weapons, 6 for abilities, 13 for armors, and 5 for rings, meaning the highest tiers and untiered items are still locked behind actual gameplay. You can also use gold to purchase your pet food and feed your pet, leveling it up faster than normal. Pets are another permanent upgrade in the game. No matter how many times you die, your pet will stay right by your side, aiding you in battle. This gives Realm of the Mad God a strange middle ground. It's not fully pay to win, but it certainly has aspects of it. Do keep in mind that if you do purchase any equipment items from either the Nexus shop or the Grand Bazaar, they will still be lost upon death. Everything in Realm of the Mad God can be achieved without spending a single dollar on the game, but it will take you some time. If you ever do decide to spend any sort of money on the game, it is suggested to purchase either extra character slots or vault expansions. Luckily, you can get coupons, or sometimes even the full unlockers, from the login calendar. Collect 5 of the coupons to receive either a free character slot or vault expansion, depending on which coupon you collected. The login calendar is honestly a great way to get some free goodies even if you don't play that much. Just quickly log in and log out if you have a few minutes to spare. So what can you expect with your overall experience to be with Realm of the Mad God? Well, it honestly differs between players, of course. You'll have a much more enjoyable time if you play the game with friends, or even talking to strangers as long as you're in a voice chat. It may be something small, but just talking and joking with people makes a world of difference. It also depends on how hard of a grinder you are. If you enjoyed roguelikes like Binding of Isaac and Enter the Gungeon of the Past, and for Binding of Isaac if you filled out some of those post-it notes for a few different characters, I can see you playing this game for a good while. Just to note, getting into the proper meat of the game will probably take you maybe 20 to 30 hours of gameplay at the game's current pace. That's just my best guess though. It may take shorter if you catch on quickly, it may take longer. This portion was also written before the realms got reworked, so do keep in mind that current me has no idea how that update will affect progression. I'm hoping it'll affect it positively, however. At this point, I have said what I've needed to in order to get you a proper idea of what Realm of the Mad God is like. This section is now just for my personal history with the game, as it has been a huge part of my life for well over a decade now. If you enjoyed the video up until now, leave a like, maybe subscribe, or check out my Twitch channel if you've got time. I make a variety of content over there. If you want to listen to my history and my experiences with the game, followed by my own personal opinion of it, stick around. If not, hope you have a good day. I initially found Realm of the Mad God back when I was in middle school. It was one of the few games that was still somehow unblocked on our school network. So I tried it out and played it during lunch in our tech video teacher's room. Back then you didn't need an account to play, but none of your progress would actually be saved. I figured this would be fine as I didn't expect to actually stick around in the game for any meaningful amount of time. Clearly I was wrong. I've been around for almost every major update of the game, from orcs being spawned on the beach, to paladins swapping to seals after using tomes for a bit, to the hacking of SWATSec 1. I've been around for the transfer from Wild Shadow to Kabam, and from Kabam to Deca. I have played Realm for almost half my life at this point. The friends I've made through this game are among the closest in my life, even closer than some of my face-to-face friends. I started making content for this game back in 2017, about 6 years after I started playing. They were just chill, casual streams, nothing crazy, but the community on Twitch and YouTube was something special. Slowly but surely, the game did become stale. I had done almost everything I wanted to in-game, other than a few things that were completely RNG reliant, which only put me further into a slump. I still had passion for the game though, don't get me wrong, which is why I was excited when Deca announced their partnership program. Content creators could be officially partnered with the game in some capacity. With access to things like special testing and gold giveaways, it would have been the perfect thing to apply for to give back to my own community. Unfortunately, I was rejected, which did kind of sting. They never gave an exact reason why they didn't accept me, but I moved forward anyway. While I understand not giving a reason as to why I wasn't selected, I don't blame them at all, they're not necessary. One thing I still don't understand to this day is what happened to an old guild member about a year prior to that or so. So when fusing pets in Realm, you have the pet that evolves and the pet that disappears when you fuse the two. Once a pet evolves, that one can't have anything done to it, but the one that disappears can be brought back. It's similar to deleting a character. And I should know, Kabam did this for me once back in 2015 when they still owned the game. My guildie 3-cubed accidentally fused his pets in the wrong order, with the pet he wanted to evolve was the one ended up getting deleted. This meant that the pet with the wrong abilities was the pet that remained. He sent a support ticket to Deca asking to revive the deleted pet, which as stated is something that is fully possible. I won't say who he got as a support representative in this video, but let's just say they didn't really do their job. Almost every single response to any one of 3-Cube's questions was simply, "Sorry, we are unable to do that. Please let me know if you have any other concerns or questions," or something along those lines. It was very cookie cutter, almost as if it was just copy pasted every single time. Seeing how I had made the same mistake a couple years prior, and Deca has all the same powers that Kabam had, or so I would assume, I made a Reddit post with receipts that Kabam was able to bring back the deleted pet. About 2 days later, 3Cubed made an update post stating that another member of the support team came to his aid and brought back his pet. This was just the first sign that there could be some preferential treatment within the support team, or just improper training. A few years ago, I sent in a support ticket asking if I would have been able to do a small giveaway of some character slot and vault chest unlockers, as I had seen a streamer do that same thing multiple times. I sent them a ticket and they responded that they would be happy to help with the giveaway. I then sent them a clarification question to make sure how to go about it. They simply said, "That's exactly it, just make sure to do it with a reasonable amount of unlockers." The word reasonable was somewhat vague, so I asked for clarification. Now, what would you say is reasonable? I want to know what you guys would consider the limit to how many of them I can give away, because otherwise they're just taking up permanent space in my account. I sent that email requesting clarification on the 13th of February. 2 weeks later, on the 26th, they responded. "Hello, thank you for contacting us. I'm sorry, but we cannot process your request. This is the first time we have received such requests and decided to help out with a legitimate giveaway on stream. In turn, this resulted in a number of tickets requesting vault chests or character slots being transferred. We have had an internal discussion and decided on holding such tickets for now until we come to a decision on whether we should continue processing these requests, and if so, whether any rule set needs to be implemented so it is not abused. I apologize for any inconveniences that may have caused you and appreciate your understanding in the matter. We will make sure to inform you once we decide on the matter. Thank you for your patience. Regards, Dane." They basically waited 2 weeks to tell me, "Hey, we know we said you could originally do this, but now we're saying you can't." It just made me angry. It felt as if they purposely used vague wording to prevent me from giving away the unlockers, which is something that I would not be surprised if that is the case. they never actually got back to me on whether or not they added a ruling. The final thing I'll touch on is my false acceptance into the closed testers program. You heard that right. I was falsely accepted to be a closed tester. Here's what the 2 emails read. Relmer, thank you for applying to become a future seeker. We would like to formally invite you to join the family, starting in February. You can join the Discord server now and mingle along. Ping me on Discord after you join, please, so that I can give you the proper roles. Thank you. Yours truly, Wotan. Approximately 15 minutes later, I received a second email. Relmers, I am terribly sorry, but the previous email was sent by mistake. My mistake. You were not selected, and I truly apologize for the confusion. I'm sending you lucky clovers to say I'm sorry. You are still on the roster to be picked as a future seeker. You just weren't in this round. You'll have many more throughout the year. Thank you, Wotan. I'll let you form your own opinion on that one. And now for the ending that really doesn't matter at all. My personal opinion on Realm of the Mad God. Overall, it's a fantastically unique game that hasn't been properly replicated except for a couple of private servers that have since been either taken down or shut down of their own accord. I truly do wish to see Realm succeed, but I also wish for Deca to put on display that they care about the game, and that they care about bringing in new players. Either way, thank you for watching. My name has been Charsican. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like or a comment. It helps out a bunch. As well as consider following me on Twitch if you enjoy a chill live stream environment. Hope you all have a great day, or night, whatever time it may be for you. Peace!